Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Volusia Flagler Cares, where we put a spotlight on nonprofit groups and organizations that help the people in our community, and for both Flagler and Volusia counties. But today, our spotlight goes to Flagler County, where I was lucky enough to get in touch with Sheri Muth, who is a tax Sheri, is it a tax aide or any? She's the district coordinator for the AARP Foundation Tax Aid Program, which it's unbelievable that nobody knows or that I didn't know about it. But right now, it's a timely issue or something that needs to be, brought to people's attention. So, you know, I guess it takes a special kind of a person. Have you been doing, taxes and things like that for a long time, Sherry?
Well, this is my sixth year. Okay, I joined the Flagler Tax-Aide when I became a full-time resident down here. My fourth year as running the district as district coordinator, so that my boss got promoted up to be a state coordinator for part
Nice.
of our state. So it's it's been a great time. I mean, I've made a lot of friends. We're doing really good work. We give back. Um, as a tax counselor, it keeps my mind sharp, and it was
Right.
something that I had told myself I was going to do when I retired.
Well, it's great. Again, my background is service, which is it's the whole reason I started doing this show. So I can really applaud people who have the time and utilize it for what do they say, it takes a village. It does. So
Yes.
so give me a little background on the, I mean, I'm familiar with the AARP, but maybe just kind of a little
Hmm.
overview, and then how the tax aid program is a part of it.
Sure. Absolutely. Um, Tax-Aide is a program of the AARP Foundation. It's not it's a separate not-for-profit organization. Not You don't have to be a member of AARP for us to do your taxes for free. It's been around for over 50 years, believe it or not,
Oh my
and but
God.
it's grown. Yeah, we
We
had
got
our
to get the
50th
word out,
anniversary a few
Sherry.
years ago. And but it obviously it wasn't that big back 50 years ago, but now it's nationwide, in pretty much every state. I think so. And there's I think about 28,000 volunteers. We're all volunteers except for
Hmm.
a few people in the national office that oversees the program and works with the IRS. But we're all volunteers throughout the nation. Our county, Flagler County, has about 60 volunteers um, this
60.
year, and yeah, and we have counterparts. I have other district coordinators in Volusia County. There's actually three different district coordinators in Volusia because it's quite a spread out county.
Right,
And so
right.
there are services similar to ours that are also offered in Volusia County. So, you know, your Volusia County folks can, find out about the program also. The
Well, one of the things, and
We
and
are.
I'll let you clue you into this. We have the right there will be the website addresses as a link or as a QR code. So while people are watching, they can just go ahead and link up and find out what they need to find out.
Absolutely. We have our own website that has a lot of information on it. you can find out about us. We pretty much do
I
most
gotta say
common
that
tax
I
returns, and you
was
don't have to be a senior
I was
to use our
actually kind of
services.
just, I
AARP
kept
Foundation.
thinking, okay, well, this has to be national. And then I would go through and some of it, 386 phone number, and I'm thinking, this isn't national. This is a local website. It's just beautiful.
So you do tax preparation for retired people, or what age does it have to be?
Actually, there's no age restriction because our grant is from the IRS, the
Really?
national grant. So we actually do most of the common returns for anyone. We are restricted in terms of what our scope is of work. Like we can't do any rental properties or
Oh yeah,
solar energy. We can do some self-employment, but not anyone who has employees or
right,
inventory. So but most common things, which, for retirement, that's, the 1099s, the Social Security, the brokerage statements. And then for people who are working, we do the W-2s. And the new thing is with the new tax law, we've got tax on tips, no tax on
right.
overtime, new car loan if you qualify, interest, the interest, all of that's above the line, and the senior deductions, and we can do all of that stuff too. So we have pretty broad scope of work. Just some of the more specialty things and things related to self-employment where it's more of a business with, you know, um, that's when you need to hire someone probably. And then, higher income. There is a income level that generates other forms, and we're not authorized to
Mm.
do those tax forms. So it's not restricted by um, age or anything else. It is a little restricted by how high your income is. So, but the married filing jointly is like $250,000. So that's you know that's you know not too bad. So yeah, so that means we can do most people's tax returns, and we've grown. I mean, we were up over 3,000 before COVID, and then we dropped way down. Um, tax counselors left, and taxpayers, you know, either didn't do their taxes or did them some other way. After COVID, we were doing like 2 and 3 years worth of taxes. We can do amended returns, and we can do prior year returns even. Um, so we had a lot of prior year returns after COVID. And
So you have, I mean, is your program national, but it's in almost like every county? Is it supported by the county or is it supported by national?
well, at least in Florida, it's in pretty much every county. I can't
Hmm.
speak for the other states. It's all based on the demographics of those states, but it is a national program. It is funded by the AARP Foundation. All right. However, they apply and they get funding from the IRS. Okay, to provide the free tax service, and
Okay.
also the software is um, contracted with the IRS, and so we're given the every site has a different office and it's tax slayer software, and so we all have separate offices. So I have to tell you that if someone files with us and
Uh-huh.
they do the electronic direct deposit,
Right.
they pretty much get their refund if it all matches up. So that if it's not thrown
Right.
out for any reason electronically, there's nothing glitchy. It's straightforward. They pretty much are getting their refunds like within a week or two. versus if
Wow.
they ask for a paper check, it's at least 6 weeks. Okay. And this year, the IRS really doesn't want paper checks. They are phasing the paper checks out.
Yeah,
And so
all
this
the
year,
government agencies, pretty much.
yeah. So this year, you ask for a paper check, they will send you a letter after 6 or 8 weeks saying, asking for your direct deposit information. Why don't you? Another 6 to 8 weeks. So you're talking about months to get your refund. So
Right.
that will be a challenge for us this year. But I have to say, I would say, I think direct deposit is so much more uh, popular than it was before COVID. Everything kind of your doctor's office, everything went online. And so people are
Yep.
used to it. So I would say, I'm estimating maybe 80% of the people that we serve do direct deposit,
Hmm.
and a lesser number will do a direct debit, Um, so, but,
But so you guys try to work with them any way that you can.
yeah, yeah. And,
Well,
and, and we're gonna, we have to, give the message out, and hopefully we'll convince people. We'll have some handouts for people of what their alternatives are if they don't want to give us their checking account number. I mean, it doesn't stay in our system, the
doesn't
information on someone's checking account is not even something that we can access. So it's not like we can
at
access it,
at
and it's
some
all.
time, at some point though, you kind of have to ask the fundamental question of, okay, do I want to, break into the account of somebody that can't afford to get their income taxes done?
Yeah, no.
I mean, I hate to be brutal, but hey.
Mhm. Yeah,
So I I think that security wise, uh,
yeah, it's very
probably
secure. It's very secure. We're given National gives us Chromebooks that are only used for tax preparation. We can't use them for personal use or anything like that. And
okay.
then it's a secure router, so it's not like we're attached to public Wi-Fi. We do have connect to government and the church's Wi-Fi's, but then there's a secure router so that it's
Hmm.
not hackable. At least I don't think it's hackable. Um,
Point to point.
so it's point. I'm not sure what that means, but it's in between the internet and
Well,
our
it's
Chromebook.
as long
So
as you have an encrypted signal and the receiver has an encrypted signal, that's point to point.
yes, that's what it is. Okay, and then it goes directly to the software company, which is TaxSlayer. So it's not going anywhere else than from our Chromebooks where we enter it in.
Right.
We file it electronically. It will go
I
go right to the
it's
company.
it it bothers me to this day that there still are people that will take advantage of other people. And in a
Yeah,
way it's like, the worst, not the worst, but the reason why they get taken advantage of is because they
yeah,
don't know, all of the different rules and who's doing
right.
what, and the risks that are involved.
Hmm. Well, and a lot of the people who are coming now, they have been given an identity protection pin that they have to use with their tax return because of
Okay.
someone trying to use their some kind of scam or fraud with the IRS. Okay,
Right.
and you can actually request. You can go online, and for those of the people who have been scammed or lost on credit cards or whatever, if and request an ID protection pin that you have to use every year. It changes every year. And I actually have done that for myself and my husband so that we have more protected data
You can
on
do
the
that
information.
through your tax return.
You can do it through the IRS website. It's irs.gov. And then you just look for the protection pin and you can request it. The difference is that if the IRS assigns you an ID protection protection pin, they will mail you a letter about it. Okay, if you
Okay, so
sign up
you'd know.
online, yeah. if you sign up online, you have to go back online to print it out. They're not going to mail it to you. And you can turn the voluntary ones on and off, but the ones that are signed, you're going to have for your life. Okay. And quite honestly, it's one of the most common reject errors that we get. People don't remember or don't know. They get a letter from the IRS. They don't realize it's about their taxes. That's one of the biggest rejects that we get. And the other one is for the people who have marketplace insurance, which is people don't know they have marketplace insurance, which is
Okay.
Affordable Care Act. And in old times, it was called Obamacare. And so it was opened up to a lot of the insurance companies. So now, a lot of them, they'll go in the system, they apply for insurance, and if your income is in a certain level, you'll get a reduced amount that you have to pay every month, at least up until this year. That's one of the things that it's being debated in Congress now. But I'm just looking at this year, tax year 25. We're still doing the premium tax credits for that. You have to have that form that comes in. So that's a major rejection. So,
Well,
but
are there still things that aren't there still things that they're like deciding on and voting into law? Or do you have your marching orders at least for this year?
I think we pretty much have our marching orders for this year. Okay.
Hmm.
What the changes are, and for the taxpayer, they're all good. Okay. The the enhanced senior deduction is a deduction that is after it's not necessarily, you know, no tax on Social Security. It didn't work out that way, but
Right.
after your tax return, if you have a tax liability, meaning you owe taxes, okay,
Hmm.
it will reduce if you're over 65. It will reduce your tax liability to either zero or up to $6,000 if you're single, or $12,000 if you're married filing jointly. Yeah, and the software does it automatically. You know,
I
a
wish I
lot
had known.
of well, it's just for tax year 2025. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
And
I wish I had known.
oh well, we kind of advise people not to change their taxes during the year and see what you get back, because there is an
Right.
income where it phases out after a certain level of income and stuff like that. And then the for a lot of the real, the day-to-day workers, you have if it's in a category that qualifies, you have no tax on qualified tips, meaning the tips that are on your W-2. um,
Okay, those would be the ones from credit cards.
Now the tips are more like the tips that like you give to the waitress in the restaurant, or the bartender, or the guy who fixes
Right.
the plumber assistant, that kind of thing.
But usually that's included with a credit card, right?
They can be. Okay. It's a combination of cash
Okay,
and other.
sure.
Okay. But yeah, you're right. It's included on the credit card. So it has to be on the W-2. Um, and then no tax on the overtime part of overtime, meaning that you have your regular pay and your other half, no
And
tax
this
on
is
that.
nationwide on that?
This is nationwide. Yep. No tax on
Okay,
tips, no tax on overtime. Certain new cars bought in 2025 that final assembly was in the United States, there's no tax on the uh, interest on if you took out a loan on the interest for
right,
that. You have to have the VIN number so that it qualifies.
sure.
Those are the main ones, basically.
And
Um,
you advise people through all of that process so that they can figure out the best way to maximize what they're due.
Well, we really work with people to get the best refund or the lowest direct debit that someone can have. You
Hmm.
know, people don't know about some of the things that are available. We do, education credits. There's the child tax credit, the earned income
Well, that's the other thing
credit.
I wanted to ask about. I heard there was going to be a change in the child tax credit this year. Did that happen, or
It
they?
did happen. Yeah, it increased. Um, I think it increased to 2,200 from like 1,700. I think
Wow.
it increased. Okay. Don't quote me because I don't have that in my head yet. Okay.
Right.
Um, and then that is also a non-refundable tax credit. So if you only get up to what your tax liability is or what you owe for taxes. There's another
Okay.
part
Right.
of
Yeah.
that.
It's not going to be a profit driver.
No, but there's another part of it is if you qualify based on your income, um, there is another refundable credit that's on top of that. And off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly how much that is. So,
Okay.
um,
Would that be
so
for? Well, so who's the average person who comes to see you guys?
well, I have to say, we have that like 6 sites in Flagler counties, spread throughout the county, and they're all a little bit different on who comes to them. So some of the sites have primarily, the seniors over 65.
Hmm.
Um, that's probably 70 60 70% of who we see. I would say 70% of who we see. But
I
then we
would
see other
imagine. Yeah.
people. Yeah, we see a lot of self-employed people, the um, single lawn care guy. We get the Uber drivers and the DoorDash drivers. We get
Yeah.
some of the contract workers, that are paid. I'm trying to think, maybe a hairdresser, they're contract workers. They get 1099
Yeah.
NEC, um,
They pay
and
more in taxes than any other group.
um, yes and no, because half of the there is a self-employment tax, okay, which is really mostly for your Social Security and Medicare, but you get half of that back, okay, in a self-employment situation. All right, so there's an adjustment to it, which
Well,
thank
then
God.
I'm going to need to come see you guys. I'm a realtor, and
Yeah, well, we are restricted a little bit. So if you have, the IRS gives us our scope of work. Okay, we do most common tax returns. We get a lot of the teachers, and we get the firefighters, we get government employees, local
man, that
government
is so
employees,
cool.
um, and we get, the publics, people who work in publics, those type of people.
Right.
Um,
The real
we
people, the worker bees.
and that's what the service is for. I mean,
Yeah.
that's who we feel really good about serving. The
Right.
senior. um we also, there's a little something actually that I'm going to mention now is there's a if your income's under a certain amount, there's actually for seniors an additional senior exemption on your property taxes. And I have to tell you that I
Wow.
hand out the information on that. I would say, I must hand out 2025 of the flyers from the tax appraiser's office. They have a flyer, and I
Hmm.
think this year your adjusted gross income is like 37,000, give or take. So that
Right.
if you're if you're, so that's not your total income, because Social Security is a sliding scale on being taxed. So if you have Social Security and a little bit of retirement income, the the adjusted gross income, if it's under 37,000 and you own your house, okay, you own a property, and it's
Right.
not a mobile home or a trailer, because they own the trailer, but they don't own the land.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Fee
yeah,
simple.
Yeah. So you can go take the tax return that you've done with us. We give a copy,
Hmm.
and bring it to the tax appraiser's office at the Government Services Building, and would qualify for, I think it's another 25,000 off of your appraised value of your tax, the appraised
What?
value of your property. It's not your taxes, but it's the appraised value of your property.
That's almost
So
like a, well, it's that's a
it,
pretty significant. It's almost like half of a homestead exemption.
it is half of it is the same as the homestead exemption. The homestead is 25,000. This would be another 25,000 if you qualify, you know,
If okay,
if
okay.
you qualify. So,
So what I guess we need to do is have people get in touch with you to find out if they qualify so that we can help so many more people. So, and in fact, how many people do you think that you did help last year?
we served almost 3,000 people. Okay.
Wow.
So
Okay,
we've
so
got,
is it a fixed time from, January till the 15th and then you guys go on break or
well, we start up on, well, this year it'll be February 2nd, which is a Monday, and we go through April 15th. Um, we have 6 different sites throughout Flagler County. Let's see if I can recite them. The smallest one is the Flagler County Library, and our appointments opened up January 15th, and that one is almost full already because everyone wants to go to the library on Palm Coast
sure.
Parkway. Then we have
Beautiful.
a site at the Palm Coast Aquatic Center, which people
Okay.
don't know. It's behind the Buddy Taylor and the Wadsworth Elementary, and people don't know that there's an activity room there. And so we're there 3 days, Saturday, Monday, and Friday. The library is Thursday. I My site is actually down at Flagler Beach United Methodist Church, which is a nice place to be, right near the beach.
Right?
And um, our one of our largest site is at the Government Services Building, right in Bunnell, and we're up on the 3rd floor in the conference room, and they have like 9 or 10 counselors there. The other sites
On
are more
site?
on site 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So
Okay.
they serve a lot of people. They served almost 1,000, or I think maybe 900 people at that site last year.
Wow.
And then we have
Well, how long
Saturday.
does it take to go through getting your taxes? I mean, I know what it takes for me, but I know what I'm supposed to save and where I'm supposed to put it and all of that. Um,
Well, it takes generally, I would say the average is probably 2 hours that you're going to be at the site. And that's a
okay.
give or take. Okay. Maybe your taxes are really easy and you're not going to be there that long.
Right.
Maybe it's the first time that you've been there and we have to enter all the information and you have a lot of brokerage information, or you have something like a railroad retirement or other stuff that
Oh
makes it
yeah.
more complicated, which is usually more in March, mid-March to April, we get the more complicated things. Um, so, and then there are other times that you might wait a little bit longer, but you are getting your taxes done for free. So bring a book,
Exactly.
bring your iPad, expect to be there, at least 2 hours. And occasionally, we have internet issues, we have computer issues, we have, a counselor calls in sick and we don't have the same number of counselors. Life happens, so you might
Right.
be there a little longer. But we will get all your taxes done.
Well, so
Um,
so I guess let's discuss the process. I
okay.
need to have it done, and I call a number, or do I find you online? What's the best way to get in?
The best way to schedule your appointment is to go to our website, which is taxprepfree.net.
which I love.
And and you can click into the site where you want to go, and the website's very easy to use. It says where the sites are, what day of week they're open. You can click on for directions, okay, and then what will happen is you will be pulled into the national scheduling system and schedule through that.
Okay.
It's a linked through that, you know.
Sure.
If you're in Volusia County, you can go to aarp.org/money/taxes, and then click into get your taxes done, and you'll put your zip code in. Um, so, and then what will happen is on our website, we actually have the intake booklet that
Hmm.
is a fillable PDF, so you can just do it right online, or you can,
Nice.
or if you come, we ask people come 15 minutes earlier because we hand them the intake booklet. You need
Yeah.
to make sure you have your Social Security information, which is either a Social Security card or the Social Security statement. You
Hmm.
need to have the Social Security cards for everybody on your return. You need, if you're an adult, a picture ID, a driver's license or identification card, all your tax forms, and we ask that you bring your tax return from the prior year. Then the counselor will sit down with you and go over the answers in your intake booklet, look at your tax forms, ask you more questions if indicated,
Right.
and then at that point, they're ready to enter the information into the tax software. Um,
Okay.
Depending on how much, and if it's your first time or if you're a returning person, that could take a few minutes or it could take much longer.
Right.
Um, and after that, the taxpayers sent to a second counselor who's qualified to be a quality reviewer, a more experienced counselor, perhaps, not
Wow.
necessarily. And so the quality reviewer will also go through the intake booklet with you, and then we'll also check all of the data entry that was entered into the tax return.
Wow. So
Then
it's like a fail safe that you guys have built into this?
pretty much, although we still get rejects, okay. Um, and then before they leave, before we file it electronically, we print out the return and we review it and we check things like social security numbers, their spelling of
Hmm.
their names, their addresses, um, explain the return to them, okay, answer any questions that they have, and then with the direct deposit or direct debit information, we ask them to confirm by reading the number to them, or they read it to us, the account routing number and account information, and asking them to initial it that we've reviewed it with them.
Right.
And they sign a release that they've agreed, they're taking responsibility for their return and they want us to electronically file it. We don't, they need to take responsibility for the return. If the IRS sends you a letter, you can call us and we probably, be able to guide you through, but we're not taking any responsibility for that. They need to take the
Well,
responsibility.
so many times you're at did they really provide you with accurate information? Let's.
Did they provide us with all of the information?
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they don't provide us with all of the information because we really only we will not, if you don't have a social security card with you, we're going
Hmm.
to send you home to get one, or you don't have a social security statement, if
Right.
you don't
Well, hey,
have
the DMV does it.
what, the social,
If you go to get a new license or things like that, you got to bring your birth certificate and
absolutely. It's
six
the
months
same.
proof that you've
Yeah.
lived at that address. I mean, it's crazy.
Mhm. And I mean, there's there's other things that come up, when parents are
Sure.
divorced, it's who claims the kids and things like that. But there's rules about it, and it's very clear what the rules are. Um,
Uh-huh.
but the we only enter if you what you've given to us on a tax form, okay, and then you have the identifying information and the other things that you claim. So it's you know it's more a question of what they might have left out than what we
Okay.
enter, because we're pretty thorough.
Mm-hmm.
Our accuracy rate really is about 96%. So, and a lot of the returns are some things that we don't have control over. They didn't give us an identity protection pin, and they had one.
Right.
Okay,
Oh,
they didn't give us the form for the marketplace or Affordable Care Act insurance that they got. There, that's a rejection. Occasionally, someone else claimed one of the kids as a dependent, and so that gets
right.
rejected. Two people cannot claim the same kid. I mean, it just doesn't work that way.
Well, God,
So,
with so much of the fraud and all of the different things, it's almost like, oh, so they can focus on that. But, in the meantime, there's people, just ripping off and getting deals. And we were talking earlier about, like data. There was a point where all of the IRS information was released to some guy called Big Balls working for Doge. What do you do? That in itself, it just makes people a little fearful of that being the only way that you kind of, this is all I have in my, total banking. This is all, there is no, everything is, it's very 1984-ish,
well, we're very non-political, okay,
right?
and tax law is very clear, and we follow the tax law, and we don't get political uh, on purpose. Okay, we are going to be just
Great,
very neutral, and if you want your taxes done for free, and we can do them within the scope of work that the IRS has allowed us. We have
right?
the software, and we're going to enter it in and do your taxes. You can choose to. Um, we, I would say, 96% of the tax returns are filed electronically.
Okay.
Very few are asked for paper. And I lost you. Um, so
Well, I also saw that you guys are going to be, what do they say? If the mountain won't come to Muhammad, then Muhammad will go to the mountain. But you're going to be doing some appearances, uh, reaching out to the community at a couple of different expos and stuff.
yes, we are. I'm very excited. We are going to be at the Palm Coast Expo on February 12th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Palm Coast Community Center. And that's something that the city of Palm Coast puts on for new residents, primarily new residents
Okay.
get invited to that. Although, you can come, and a lot of not-for-profits and services provided by the city of Palm Coast will be there. We will have a table there. We can answer your questions about your tax return. We do not give financial advice.
Yeah,
We
you
can give
can't do
tax
that.
assistance. We're not financial advisors or anything like that. Um, and then we're going to be, and you can even schedule an appointment at that time if you want. We'll be there with
Oh,
our,
okay. So
our
and then you just
employees.
what, put it through a laptop and book it through the
Yeah.
website?
Yep. Book it through the website, and We're also going to be at Springfest on Saturday, March 9th, and that's at
Okay.
the Palm Coast Town Center. I think the hours are like 10 to 4, and it's a night. It's around the Central Park Lake, so it's
Right, right.
hopefully it'll be good
Beautiful
weather.
area.
Yeah, very nice. Hopefully it
Well,
will
that's
be.
tremendous. I'm so glad that you guys are, again, getting out to where people may not, uh, schedules or whatever may not link them at where you are. So, like you say, you can actually book an appointment. That's tremendous.
Yep. And if you don't have a computer, or you're not computer literate, or you just are scared of the computer, we do have a whole team of appointment schedulers, volunteers, who will take phone calls. How it works is you call our appointment line number, which is 386-313-4048, and you will leave a message and ask them to call you back for an appointment. And we have someone assigned pretty much every day on shifts,
Wow.
who will take the uh, calls off the appointment line and call the person. There is a little bit of phone tag involved, probably, because people don't
Right.
always pick up numbers they don't know. And so it is kind of back and forth. Um, but the easier way is to go to our website,
Right.
taxprepfree.net, and you can schedule, you can choose what your own appointment and where to go. But we do have, I think at this point, we have probably 70% of our appointments are booked online.
Yeah,
You know,
I would
since,
imagine that, that's going to be the way
yeah,
all of them will end up being booked.
yeah,
It's a great
eventually.
service though, I mean, truly, I hate when you go and all of a sudden you see a form and oh no, you've got to print it out, then fill it out, then scan it, and then send it.
Yeah, lot of things are going to the online forms and
Hmm.
fillable PDFs, and
Yeah.
electronic signatures. But taxes is one of the things where, we actually this year will also have the ability. A lot of people have started coming in with their tax documents on their phones because their
Oh,
employers or Social
right.
Security or their investment companies are not sending them paper, or they've opted not to receive paper and they come in with them. The W-2 on their phone is a big one. So this year we've implemented a system where we'll have an additional router so that people can, because the secure router people cannot log into. It's secure. The
Right.
counselors don't even know the passwords. It's strictly on the Chromebooks. Okay.
Hmm.
So, but another router so people can link into that router and print out their tax forms from their phones. And so we did a trial of it at my site in Flagler Beach last year, and it really
Really?
was worked well. It was really a positive addition. And this year, National has approved it. Um, the additional router and to print to the printer. So I actually implemented it for all of our sites. So every site will have that ability.
Man, so you're the head,
So
the lead on that. Now, is that just in your district or is that kind of statewide?
it is nationwide.
Oh
If
my
a
goodness.
district or a site opts for it, it's voluntary, you know. And
Okay.
I just
That's a huge
wanted
program
it for
then.
all my sites, so we're going to do it. I don't know who's opted in or opted out of it. It was not kind of a required thing, at least
Okay.
not yet. So
Right. Well, you know what's coming. It's better to be there preparing and getting ready than to just, get all upset when it happens.
yeah, well, I have to tell you that to read a tax form, I mean, interest is not a big deal, but to read a W-2 off a phone, and a brokerage statements, forget it. We don't do it. We send you home. You got to come back with them. Okay.
Right.
Um, but even a W-2, this, the error, the potential for error of doing that is
Yeah.
tremendous. So our error rates would go up if we were to start doing that, because they people come in, they don't have a printer, and you'd have to send them to the library,
Yep.
or Staples or somewhere where they're going to charge them to print out. And it's that down in Flagler Beach, there was nothing near Flagler Beach where you could go and get your um, form print your forms
Right.
out. Plus, they're gonna charge it, and it's just another barrier for someone to have someone for to have us do their taxes. And so, um, yeah, I'm excited about that as an addition to what our services that we can do. So,
Well, as somebody who lives and works in this area, I'm very grateful that we have people like you and all of the volunteers that are doing a program like this. That I mean, it's so necessary just so that they can, get what's coming to them. And
yeah,
believe, $200, it means something.
yeah, I think um, the people who in our county alone, okay, we the through our tax
Hmm.
aid, the people that we filed for last year, I think probably 2/3 of them got refunds. It was over $2 million in refunds.
Wow.
Okay,
So that's
between
now
the
being spent in the community and
mm-hmm,
filtering through.
yep. And if they do the direct deposit, put their information in, their routing number and their account, they're getting their refunds in a week or two. In the beginning of the season, it's like a week. Toward the end of
Right.
the season, it's 2 weeks maybe. Okay, because if it doesn't bounce out for any reason, it's going to go right through, because it matches
Right.
what the employer or Social Security or the investment companies or the banks, it matches up with what they have submitted to the IRS. Okay. The only reason is that if something's off, it'll kick it out of the system. But the
So it's
majority
almost
of,
like you almost know instantaneously. Well, it went through great, or ooh, something happened.
yeah, we actually do know, uh, like within an hour, if something's rejected for like the identity protection pin, or the Affordable Care Act form not being there. It's called the 1095A,
Hmm.
or a wrong Social Security number, or wrong spelling of a last name. That we know pretty quickly, and we every site has an electronic returns person, and they'll call, get the correct information, and then we can resubmit it. Okay. If it rejects for another reason, it will
Hmm.
it will take a while for the IRS to contact them. Okay. We don't necessarily, if it rejects on our end, we can fix it. But
Right.
if it rejects within the IRS system, we're not going to know
Well,
about that.
I mean, there's only so much that I guess that you can do. You guys really are uh, helping people in a great way, and I think it's tremendous. Um, the AARP itself is also a wonderful organization. I'm a member, have been for God, I don't even know how many years. But I really wanted to get the word out. As soon as I saw this, I thought, man, this is the time of year. I'll bet these people wish that they could, get the word, or talk to people and let them know
Yeah.
what they do. So I
Well,
figured, let me reach
it's
out. And Sheri, thanks for, continuing, because, I kept messing up your email and everything. But thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. And everybody, if you can, we will have the links and the QR codes so that you can connect with the AARP and find out if this is a program for you. So,
well, thank you for having me. I really love getting the word out, and this
yeah,
is a great way to do it. And, hopefully
for sure.
we'll get more people.
Okay, yeah, and share the link.
Yes, share the link.
Anyway, hey everybody, this just wraps up another wonderful, wonderful, wonderful edition of Volusia Flagler Cares. We're grateful that you have come on the journey with us, and we will see you next week with Commander Lawson from the Disabled American Veterans. So, thanks again. Talk to you soon. Be nice to each other. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.